Hi Decoders, it's Kiran Trace. Did you know that there is one solution that will fit every single challenge, obstacle, problem, and question in your life? That's because reality is so simple and straightforward. So let's begin the exploration of that. Hi, I'm Kiran Trace. Welcome to Humans Decoded, a story of hobbits, fairies, elves, dwarfs, gnomes, and humans. If you get lost at any point, there is a deep dive on all the different avatars in episode 1. It includes notes. Thank you for joining us in a fun little chat about the vast potential of our human makeup. Hi, Leela. Hi, Cam.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm in a funny position today because I had a bad fall. We'll talk about it in this episode. So I'm recording from bedside. Hopefully, we're going to get all the way through.
So that one solution Kiran mentioned in the intro is delicious yes. It's something we often talk about in our episodes. It's like we sprinkle it in, I think probably in every episode, but we've never had this explicit whole episode on it. And that's what you're in for today. And I think it just makes for wonderful, uplifting, sweet, cute content. And luckily we have this real life example of Cami moving into her brand new apartment.
And Kiran having had recently a fall. And Leela, we have a million examples of this. Like
yes.
Every week.
Every hour. There's
Every
a plethora.
moment,
I'd never
come
stop
on.
surprising you.
Yeah, totally. There's always something so meaningful also when you're like hearing from your community decoders that in this moment, that's us, me and Cam and Leela. Like how so again and again and again, this is the answer. It's pretty life altering, totally up leveling, very, very playful. This is always it.
And I feel like you can't stress enough how much the community aspect of Delicious Yes practice is so important. Whenever I see someone else stand in their Delicious Yes, it inspires me to do the same. And I feel like without that pillar, you just falter so much more easily. Like when I hear other people's wins, it's infinitely inspiring. It feels like my own.
It's so important. I have this little scale that I use. I go, okay, humans really get pain very well. We all know it. We all know what that is. And the next level up from that is suffering. It's not as intense as pain, but it's this like low grind of effort. We're pretty familiar with that. Also, humans know something I call 3 out of 4 ain't bad. And in the world of humans, that's amazing. That's actually really great, especially because we're so familiar with pain and suffering. So if we get these 3 out of 4 ain't bad situations, we're like, oh, it's great. That is not all the way to delicious. From pain, suffering, 3 out of 4 ain't bad is all inside this human imagination. It stays inside our own familiar, our own known. Delicious is this bigger leap, and it takes us into the unknown. And you know, decoders, you guys know this, that we will all hang out in our suffering. Or if we're lucky that we've got a 3 out of 4 ain't bad, we will hang there for the longest time rather than just jump into that unknown. Partly it's because we don't know how. And that's the reason why I have created this tool and broken it down so deeply and practice it so much is the how to get out of that thing that you know is glitchy. You know, it's not it. And so to leap right into the unknown is it's hard. It's hard. I'm literally going to talk about this thing that happened 2 seconds ago, y'all. I had this awkward fall. I'll talk about it more in a minute. But to record this episode, I was like in a really uncomfortable position in the studio that I usually record in. It wasn't working. And I was saying to Cam and Leela, like, okay, this isn't working. Where's delicious? Like, where is the solution? And it was so great to have this whole little community because my habit would be like saying either push and I'll stay in this uncomfortable place, and I'll push in order to make it happen. And I sometimes use this analogy of like a skyscraper, where some of us are pushers, and it's like Kiran says, like, hey, climb up to the top of the skyscraper, right? And then what's going to happen is the opportunity you're looking for is right up there at the top, right up there at the top, like it's going to be there for you, I promise. And so we climb all the way up the skyscraper. And then some of us who are pushers are going to go walk right out to the edge, and be like, where's my opportunity now? Like, I'm going to make it happen. And some of you will climb up to the top because you trust Kiran, and you get up to the top. And then as soon as you get up to the top, you cling to the wall. And you're like, I'm going to stay right here like a crustacean until the opportunity has to peel me off this wall.
That would be me. I'm a wall clinger.
And that's the thing, right? Of what I'm saying is like in the second, like, so there I was in this regular habitual studio, and my position would be just like, push, let's hit record, let's get this episode done, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, that's not a solution. It's just me rolling in my own head. But to have this lovely community, having Leela and Cami there going, okay, where is it? And it felt like it's delicious to record this episode, but I need to actually go back to my little bed where I've got all the pillows set up and all the things I need for my injury. But I'm not technically proficient at all. So I don't know how to like move the recording device, blah, blah. Forget it. And then something very strange happened right in that moment. The microphone that I always use and it's a plug-in microphone. Like, it doesn't even require battery or anything. It just stopped working. And there's no reason for it to stop working. It just stopped working. And I had to unplug the microphone and have just the recording device in my hand to see like, oh, that's what's working. Well, that made it so much easier for me to go back into my bed because I wasn't plugged into mics and things like that. So life came up under me with this opportunity. So there I was on the skyscraper. Now I was prepared to go out on the edge and force the opportunity. Just hit play, let's go. Because I'm a pusher, not a clinger. And instead, with my community, I had this open-handedness. Like, where is it? Where is the opportunity? And guess what? Life floated this bizarre occurrence of the mic not working, creating the perfect opportunity right there.
But in these moments, it's like all our fears come up. It's like the entirety of every fear you've ever had is right there screaming in your face. Even for us, maybe even a little bit for Kiran as she sat in that uncomfortable chair, not knowing where or how to get to the actual delicious.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like it blanks you out. We've talked about this in other episodes too, right? Like it glitches you out, and so fear's in your face, and it's like, I don't even know what my name is, let alone my delicious. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's like delicious is just challenging each and every belief you've ever had. And an example is, and I love the example you just brought in, Kiran, it's like you're a pusher and I'm a clinger. And then sometimes when you ask me something, it's like, okay, I don't want to push myself to get to what you're asking me for. And I also don't want you to push yourself because, yeah, it's not the actual solution. So what's the true delicious here? And I just recently had this bit where I had to sit with something, two options equally delicious. One was to join our lovely Friday class with my friends and Kiran, and we sit in deep silence. It's always delicious. I know that. Or I've been invited at the same time as the class would happen to go to a bonfire, celebrate the beginning of spring with my friends here in Ticino, which was also delicious. And I was like, fuck, I don't know. Where am I going? Am I pushing class because I want to be, a good girl, my belief? I have to be a good student. Otherwise, I'm not pleasing Kiran and my friends. I'm not going to be loved. as if, or am I pushing if I go to the bonfire? And I really wasn't sure. I did not know. So I had to hang out in this space of, well, in this moment, I don't know. And eventually it was showing up that, yeah, the bonfire is the true delicious. So I risked it. I risked the unknown delicious as opposed to, going to class, which is sort of a known kind of safe delicious. At least in that instance is what that felt like.
Yeah, I think either one felt like a win-win. So what's the true delicious? It's also like, it's a real chat. Delicious isn't unnuanced.
I just moved into a new property and it's honestly the house of my dreams. Like, I can't believe I'm here. But it hasn't come without a million opportunities to just be that crustacean. Please, God, don't make me leave my comfort zone, por favor. But I can tell you, gosh, yeah, it's worth it. But yeah, there's so many different kind of packages of fear keep cropping up, and each one comes with its own sort of information / limitation. And one of them was this fear that I don't deserve what I want. It's just kind of hidden in there, and it didn't really emerge until I started looking at contractors because I want to jazz up my new place. I had some amazing help from Kiran to like just design it like in a way that works for me, which included built-in cupboards and like a super decked out closet because yes, please, very. But that involved getting contractors in, which I've never done before because I'm just a baby.
Just a baby.
And like I'm just a baby. Like that's where I want to stay. I don't want an adult. And really that's like the voice of this fear that underneath that stupid millennial voice is like, I don't deserve what I want. So yeah, this fear saying I don't deserve what I want made it completely impossible to pick up the phone and just call a contractor. I felt completely incapacitated.
Yeah, I mean, that was the same for me. I had this fall. It was just, luckily it was going upstairs, not going downstairs, but I was going up these very big rocks. So I had this fall and when I fell, I got badly hurt, but I was so flooded with shame and humiliation and discombobulation. Now, from the outside, it's like, why are you feeling so much shame? Like, I don't know. It's my pain body. It's my fear. It's just flooding me. And it was kind of interesting and amazing because like I just paused. So I had fallen in this really awkward position. I thought maybe I broke my arm. I definitely did something to my hip and my leg. Like it wasn't good. And I was like, there's the habit, right? Call the ambulance, call the doctor. But in truth, I could feel I was so flooded with this fear, with this shame, that I had to just sit and just be quiet and listen for where delicious was, right? Because guaranteed that's going to be the solution 100% of the time. I've seen it. I always say 99.9% of the time that's the solution. I really mean 100, but I got it for those of you, with your opinions out there. I got to give you this like 0.1%, okay, well maybe not every time. But anyways, it was awesome because like I just sat in the sun and I just felt the peace all around me. Even though I was broken and crumpled, I could feel this peace and I was able to call a friend, and one of my masterclass students answered the phone, was around, and I could talk about, like being in this crazy, weird position and just sitting there in the sunshine and just breathing and just having a little meditation with a pal till the flood of the fear cleaned out. And now the next steps. If I had reached for the doctor, if I had reached for the hospital, it was just going to keep being glitchy, right? It was all moving from my terror of not being safe, right? My terror of not being safe. And like, that's what was flooding me, or that was my shame, or that was, like, it was just going to move from that. So I had to let it all clear itself out and just wait and it's not instantaneous. Like, it wasn't like 10 minutes later, even though I was sitting in a crumpled position with possibly a broken arm. Honestly, it was like 2 hours. I had to just sit in the sun and let all that clear out before I could make a clear solution.
Yeah, if you kind of ride out the fear or sort of stay in long enough so that you can see through it and see what the clarity is, the wins are always so big. And I can't tell you how like out of this world fulfilling the last couple of weeks have been, like moving in, booking those contractors, or at least calling them. There's been a few glitches along the way because the fear sort of snuck back in. But there's been so many amazing wins of just like, yeah, seeing where the delicious is. And then that kind of leads you into like little pathways you didn't even know were there. So I had this one lady I was going to pick up wallpaper from, and it was about a 40-minute drive to go and pick it up. And I bought it from her and then realized, like, wait a minute, I'm in Bath, which is a city in the UK known for like Jane Austen and like this absolutely gorgeous architecture. And it's actually like the home of sort of traditional English style, which happens to kind of be my aesthetic. So I got to spend like the most amazing day just shopping and like feeling materials and like putting all my color palettes together. And I had no idea like that was in the cards. Like all I did was go get my wallpaper. But that's how it sort of blossomed. And I can think of so many other examples. Like I wanted a vanity table and it just ended up being like the most luscious spring day out, like driving with my bestie through the countryside. I found this like really quirky antique table with like a marble top and lion carved wood legs. Like it's just so yummy. Like everything is so yummy. And I brought it back and I just look at it and it takes me back to the countryside. And then I've had this spreadsheet I've been working with because I had to put a budget together to kind of, you know, sort of slot everything in, like contractors, wallpaper, cost of paint, da 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 da. And I kind of joke that I'm in a committed relationship with my spreadsheet. I check it like all day long. And honestly, like if you know me, you wouldn't think I'm like into spreadsheets, but oh baby, this spreadsheet. So it's just like, I don't know, it's actually using my full capacity that I didn't even know was there. I would have shirked all that had I just stayed in. I'm just a baby.
Yeah.
I agree. When I waited for that to flood out, which was 2 hours or whatever, it suddenly became very effortless. The same thing, like just up came the solutions, which was to phone my doctor instead of go to the hospital. I just didn't want to go to the hospital. I don't know why. It just was not a hell yes. And my doctor answered the phone. And then he echoed actually everything that was in line with my delicious. It was like, yeah, let's not get you to the hospital. Let's get you comfortable. Let's get the swelling down. Let's get, some, antihistamines in and anti-inflammatories in. Let's get you comfortable and starting to get the inflammation down so we can see what we're working with. And my doctor was like, we'll stay in touch every few hours. And when you think it's time to go, we'll go, and it was just so fantastic. It just set me up for this really beautiful place for overall healing. And it was quite late in the day, and I was thinking I was going to have a really bad night. My arm hanging in this weird position and all these things, but actually just everything, just like waiting for that delicious, like this perfect chair came in and this perfect blanket and this perfect pillow and this perfect sling. And we had the anti-inflammatories at the house, and like everything just was so smooth and just put me up. And I actually ended up sleeping that night, which I didn't think was going to happen at all. And it was just when we start to make one choice from delicious yes, and it can be this like me in this broken pile of injury, or Cam in this beautiful up level of like a new home. Like we're the illustration here on either side of the map, like from one side to the other. It's still, the solution is still delicious. When we make this one choice from delicious, that wallpaper, or call my doctor, boom, it opens another. Boom, life floats up another. Boom, life floats up another. And there's this, it's easy to follow this momentum, that keeps you in a clear path forward, even though you're beyond yourself. Like who am I to not go to the hospital and get my x-rays right away? And normally I would. I'm a big fan of that shit. It just wasn't. It was not going to be comfortable or happy or right. Or who is Cammie to be in relationship with a spreadsheet? My God. Yeah.
But it's just so liberating, isn't it? To be in the relationship with the spreadsheet, or not to go to the hospital, not to be in the habitual sort of grip of things, right? It's so liberating. And I just recently heard the same story in a way, just in a different color, from a friend who had all these trips lined up. And, it all sounded very delicious and aligned and true. And then, but in a moment, she realized, oh, crap, it's not delicious. And then the first response from her was, oh, fuck. Like, I'm already kind of trapped in all this. How am I going to get out of it? But because it's delicious not to go, it was very easy to cancel or change the flights. So it wasn't a big deal. And that story and Cam's story, Kiran's story, my own stories, it all just proves the point of you cannot lose with delicious. You can really only win.
And sidebar, if you choose your delicious, it doesn't always guarantee harmony. It's like sometimes it can put you in an uncomfortable place where you're the one that pulls the plug and everybody's like, what the fuck? And I can think of one example where I was lined up to do this short film with a friend, and she's a camera woman, and we'd worked together for a while, and it was all set up to be great. But then I got this other opportunity to do a commercial, which I just knew, like, oh, that one is actually my delicious, and exactly that feeling of like, oh, fuck. And so I had to tell my other friend, like, listen, I'm really sorry, like, I'll help you find a replacement. They like, I'll do what I can, but I can't do your film. I've got another opportunity that I need to take. And she was actually really angry, like really upset with me. But in the end, the person that was her replacement ended up being her longtime collaborator. They just love working together and continue to work together to this day. And equally, I went to do my commercial, and I'm doing a shoot with the same dude next week. Like, we've been working together ever since. So it was a win-win for both of us, even though it had like a moment of like, fuck.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to be super happy that that's the choice. And certainly people around me are like, you got to get to the hospital, like, or whatever, right? Like, it's like, but it's shocking how every single time it's the solution. It still shocks me that it's always the solution.
Yeah, and it's really the only question ever to ask. Is it delicious?
What's so beautiful about it, right, is we've been talking about this, like, it takes you beyond your belief system, beyond that circle of what you know. You got to swim way out beyond there to get those rich pools of opportunity. When you swim out to the deeper waters, you can harvest the opportunity. We always love a surf metaphor, right? You got to get past the break, past, got to break out past the me and what I know.
Yeah. And for example, in my example of moving house, me not swimming past the break would be like, I don't really need a carpenter. I'll just buy some IKEA stuff and it'll be fine. But then it also means less joy, less opportunity. And I wouldn't have known that I love spreadsheets. I wouldn't have known so many things about myself and my own capacity.
That's what happens when you get out past the break. It's a really very good hack for handling capacity. People think, oh, I got to have more time. I need more time. There's not enough time. Or people are like, I need less stress. There's too much stress, and then they're using their own habitual frame, their own habitual sense of what the world is or what they are. And they can't get it. They're not getting more time. They're not getting less stress because they have to expand their own capacity. And this is such a beautiful, beautiful hack. It's so playful. It's so fun. It actually includes community, like helping to find where your delicious is. and that one will swim you out beyond your me. And suddenly there's all this bigger capacity.
And pain body cannot see beyond. Pain body cannot see past the break. It cannot see that paddling out there, sort of hanging on for dear life is sometimes it is what builds your capacity. And it's just so limited. And I'm thinking back when I was moving away from Zurich, how when Pain Body was looking for, okay, where do we want to move? It had this whole list of criteria, like I need to be able to bike to the city. I don't know what else there was, but it was all just so still within the confinement of me, within what I knew, because, I thought I'm working in Zurich. That's where I have to be. And then life provided this place here in this very south of Switzerland in Ticino, and it's beyond. It's way past everything I could ever imagine, right? And it doesn't mean that that's final. There's more. But I remember a moment on the phone with Kiran where I was sat in front of the church, and I was just saying how this quiet here, it's just so, the peace and the silence, it's just so thick. It's like, it's so loud. It's almost like every thought is too much. It's too, it just distracts the moment, or it disturbs the moment.
In that little town. Yeah, in the little town of Ticino with that little church, I remember.
Yeah. Gosh. And then the years here, it's like all this lush nature, all this abundant quiet, like there's not many people around. It's just been so helpful for me to deepen in my seat as an energy healer. So, the wins are countless.
Worth it. It's so worth it. And just
So
like we're
worth it.
explaining to you guys too, right? Like, it doesn't mean it's going to be harmony, as Cam is saying. And as I've been illustrating, it doesn't mean it's comfortable. I mean, I'm really uncomfortable, squashed in this bad position. Like, it doesn't mean it's comfortable. It doesn't mean it's harmonious. It doesn't mean that all your community rises up and sings wahoo, wahoo, do, re, mi. Like, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And to help, like, well, obviously it's like create a friend group where you can use this. You can say, what's delicious today, or what's delicious through this solution, or where's your delicious, and help people help your community come into their bodies and feel for that. It's so helpful to share the wins. We always do this in our class groups, our bigger class groups, we're very connected. It's a very, people call each other, talk to each other. We talk, there's back and forth CWs and DMs, but we're always sharing with everybody the win, so that it gives people the opportunity to risk it, so invite your book club, to take the 9-day course, which is, you go to KiranTrace.com. It's right there, 9-day course. It's a really beautiful thing. It's nuanced, but you guys can have this shared language. So, like, don't gatekeep this. It's, spread it wide and far. It's a brilliant fucking hack on how to get out of that place where you feel the glitch. You're sitting in the wrong seat, but it's so scary to go, where's the right seat? And this suddenly makes it less of all of those things. And the win is so enormous.
Yeah, the more the merrier. And it's very much not exclusive to this community. I have a friend who does listen to the podcast, and I don't think he would call it delicious, but he does seem to kind of stand in his authenticity and sort of is available to do what feels right to him. And just recently, just for funsies, he set up a surf club cinema. So he's putting on a screening of like surf films that have never come to the UK before. And suddenly it's just built its own momentum, like out of the blue, like surf magazines are reaching out. He's got a sponsor, like the university wants to get involved. They're going to put him on a tour, like around the whole of the UK. And I mean, it's a perfect example of building out his capacity, because he just had this one idea and now he's got this, like, be fully utilized in something that he was just loving anyway.
That's so cool. And just, a little warning at the end of this episode. Beware. Lala is just around the corner. It's like you initiate from delicious and then it just gets so hot and there's all your fear screaming in your face. And then it's like, ooh, that's a bit too intense. I'm just going to turn slightly to the left and Lala my way. I don't finish the movement of delicious. I'm going to, what's the word? Deviate. I'm going to turn a little bit away from it, a little bit away from the intensity of just all my beliefs being challenged.
Okay, so here's our episode on Delicious, giving you all the momentum and joy to do it, but we will link the Lala episodes underneath. When you find yourself just before the full execution of Delicious, just before the full stand beyond yourself. I don't even know who I am boundary. When that, just before that happens and you crunch back down and flip into Lala instead.
Happens to the best of us.
Okay, more from us next week. We love you, decoders. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. We obviously love hearing what you think. Your feedback helps us make a better show for you to listen to. So feel free to comment, and you can do it at Facebook, which is the Humans Decoded podcast. And if you're not on social, you can always email any questions to us at outreach@kirantrace.com. And thanks for listening. We love you.